Here's a company that we talked about recently right here on Cheddar Shakers. For immigrants entering a new country and culture, it can be a bit intimidating. Social media app Homeis is trying to give these people a little taste of home and just raised $12 million to help in those efforts. For more on this, we're joined by Ron Harnevo, who is the co-founder and CEO of Homeis. Such a great pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit more about Homeis and where the fresh capital is going to be going towards.
Yeah, so first of all, we're very thrilled. We announced a funding of $12 million, which is the second funding we had. We are trying to build what we call a better internet for immigrants. And it's really hard to understand if you're not, how much the internet doesn't work for you. When you come from another place in terms of language and access to information and finding, love or friends or, anything. I know it firsthand. I moved here 11 years ago. And what Homeis is trying to do really is, give a much better service to immigrants across the US and globally.
So is it like a Facebook for immigrants? I mean, for a specific community? It sounds like it obviously does a lot and has almost like a 360 view. You can date on it. You can learn other basic 101 items of, I guess, being an immigrant right in America or elsewhere.
Yeah, there is a social component to it, and I think that every product that they have a social component to something will be addressed. The question of, are you Facebook of something? But we actually think we're very different. We're giving people, first of all, we're organizing information, which is not something you see on Facebook groups and WhatsApp and stuff like that. We're using the community knowledge to create a user base that I think has always existed. When immigrants talk offline, they always share their best recommendations, their small businesses and everything else, which you don't really see on social apps. So I think we're trying to do a combination of, a utility product and social features. And it's something that, Silicon Valley has never done, I think, for that audience, which I think is super important.
How were you able to secure this additional funding when you work with venture capitalists, investors in Homeis thus far? What really resounds with them about your platform?
So, first of all, we started with 3 communities, French, Israelis, and Indians all over the US. And we're growing really fast, right? We already met hundreds of thousands of immigrants only in that communities. Our retention is really high, and that's something investors look at. I'm very happy that our seed investors kept on going with us and invested in the A round, which I think is a good affirmation of what we're doing. And then we added, Alexis Ohanian, who is the co-founder of Reddit, Tim Armstrong, who worked with me at AOL, and Adam Singold. I think there's something about this mission that people want to be attached with. It's important, it's timely, and we're very happy to move on. It's only a fundraise.
Well, speaking to the timely aspect of it, I mean, obviously President Trump has railed against immigrants coming into the U.S., advocated for much more stringent measures to be put in place here. How are you trying to capitalize on that for your app, and has that changed the way that you're doing business or plan to do business with the app?
It's a great question, and it's a relevant question. Look, I'm not going to get into the amounts conversation of how many people should come in and when. But what we are saying very bluntly is that we think immigration is good, and I think that's the ethos of this country to begin with. Immigration is good. It contributes to diversity, to tolerance, to business. More than 45% of all Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or by their sons. So there's something about immigration that creates value, and we are very firm that we are helping people that I don't think need help, but I think they need to organize better. They always look for a lot of tools to get into their new lives. And we're very proud to be people with accent, supporting people with accent.
So does the app provide those tools that help people live and thrive in new countries? So
the app really gives everybody the opportunity to contribute. We have immigration lawyers that are coming and giving tips about immigration. We have CPAs. Don't forget, when we come here, we have no friends, we have no family, and we just don't know the system well enough. So the idea of bringing all the information of, how do you do health insurance, and how do you get credit score, and how do you get the right credit card, there's so much breadth of information here, besides the day-to-day communication. And people are trying to do it in very generic products. And we think it's time for immigrants to go to the main stage, there's almost 46 million immigrants in America.
Wow. Similar to how Facebook, Apple, Amazon are all very much intertwined in the conversation around how they may be regulated, how policy might affect them.
Right.
How is Homeis involved in the conversation around immigration right now as it stands?
Well, I think we try to be humble because we only raised 4 million to date, and what we really were focused on is to build a product.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, we're seeing a lot of stories on the platform itself. So if we talk about tech, let's take H-1B. I don't know how much you guys are familiar with that visa, which is really, it's a visa to help engineers all around the world to come in. And there's a lot of new obstacles in order to get them. And we are creating conversations. I don't think, you know, the policymakers have still noticed us because of our size, and that's why we raised 12 million. We're about to launch our biggest launch to date in a month, which is the Mexican community all over the US.
Wow.
It's over 12 million people. We always work in the language you speak, so when we ask you where you're from, we move to your own language, and I hope we'll be able to have impact on policies as we grow.
It's beautiful. Ron Harnebo, who is the co-founder and CEO of Homeis, joining us here on set.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Tristan. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.